community building show in the world. Every Wednesday, 6 to 8 p.m. CST, live on Facebook and YouTube. Join us as we discuss pertinent issues that relates to you and I with your host, Alinco.
Hello, everyone. Good evening and welcome to the Progressive Mind Show, your number one community building platform in the entire globe. We are very excited to be coming your way this evening. We are located in the beautiful city of Chicago, and today we have a very honorable guest. We will not have the Captain Mike segment due to work schedule. My great co-host, Michelle O'Kennard, is tied up. She has, her and the company has a big event coming up, which is the Chicago Legacy Awards coming up tomorrow and on Saturday. So she's busy working with that, among other things. But we are very glad to be here this evening to share with you and to help build our community. Today is February 23rd, 2022. I was tempted to say 2022, which was yesterday. Very, very interesting date yesterday. And I have Dr. Garvey comment on that. We would want you to share the feed because this one is going to be very impactful. And we are very humbled for today. We will go and come back. When we do, we will be introducing our guest this evening. Please stay tuned. Share the feed on Facebook. Tell a friend that the Progressive Mind Show is live. We have Dr. Garvey in the house. We will be right back after this. Welcome once again. This is the Progressive Mind Show. My name is Alinco, and we'll be going straight to our wonderful, great, admirable, honorable one. I am not fit, I am not qualified to introduce, but I am so honored and humbled this evening to have the Honorable Dr. Julius Garvey on the Progressive Mind set. We are very humble, Dr. Garvey. You are welcome to the Progressive Minds platform. Here is where we build our community. Again, you are very, very much welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Alinco.
My pleasure.
My father's organization was the Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League. That was a major significant part of it. Most people say UNIA.
Yes.
But leave out the African Communities League. So it was about building African communities, which is what you are doing. You're following in his footsteps.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I would like to give a little background of Dr. Julius Garvey. who is. We know his father. We know his late father. But let me just give you a brief background. Now it's long, but I just captured a little bit, and even the little bit that I captured is quiet. And but please give me a few minutes to be able to go through it. Dr. Julius Garvey, is a surgeon and a medical professor. He was born in September 17, 1933 in Kingston, Jamaica, to the United Negro Improvement Association, founded by his late father, Marcus Garvey, who was an activist, and the activist Amy Jackie Harvey, who was the wife of Marcus Garvey, who is the mother of Dr. Julius Garvey. He is the younger of two sons. Garvey was raised in Jamaica, he was raised in Jamaica and then became an instructor at the Columbia University College of Physicians and Surgeons in 1971. He also further went to Albert Einstein College of Medicine as an instructor in surgery. Also performed as an attending surgeon in cardiothoracic surgeon at the Harlem Hospital Center and Montefiore Hospital. Montefiore Hospital. Please pardon me if I get the name wrong. Later on, he also became an attending surgeon in thoracic and cardiovascular surgeon at the Long Island Jewish Medical Center. Dr. Garvey became the Long Island Jewish Medical Center acting program director for the division of cardiothoracic surgery from 1980 to 1982. Dr. Garvey also served as a chief of thoracic and vascular surgeon at Queens Hospital Center from 1993 to 2006. He later became the chief of vascular and thoracic surgeon at Wyckoff Heights Medical Center from 2000 to 2004. Dr. Garvey also served as an attending surgeon at North Shore University Hospital and later became the Franklin General Hospital, Massapequa General Hospital, Catholic Medical Centers, and Little Neck Community Hospitals. He's certified as a fellow of the Royal College of Surgeons, the American College of Surgeons, the International College of Surgeons, and the American College of Chest Physicians. He is also a diplomat of the Board of Cardiothoracic and Vascular Surgery. He's also a board on the American board. He's also a board on the American Board of Surgery, the American Academy of Wound Management, and the American College of Phlebology. He is married and has 3 children. Dr. Garvey, again, this was just a tip of the iceberg of the enormous work you have done. And so apart from this, Dr. Garvey, I know folks from the Caribbean and African, we like soccer. I mean, from Nesta Mali, and all of them. I don't know if you personally are into soccer or any type of sports.
Well, when I was younger, I played soccer back in Jamaica.
Okay.
And also at McGill University, I represented the university on the soccer team. We played against Toronto and a couple of other places.
Thank you for sharing that with us. Before we came on set, I'm sure your age is on social media. Everybody knows. If you look him up, his age is not a secret. So I would like to share it. But my awe was the fact that when I read his bio and I realized he's 80, but when I met the man in person or virtually, come on now, yeah, this is not how 80 looks. So, Dr. Garvey, what is your secret?
Well, I believe that health starts with mental health, and I do have considerable peace of mind in that I understand my mind. I've spent a good part of my life trying to understand my mind because I think it's the mind that controls everything. So if you control your mind, then you're able to control your body and your activities. And that's a very, shall we say, philosophical approach, but it's very African because it goes back to Kemet, which, Ma'at is based on our ability to self-control and self-discipline, and then to function in terms of harmony and balance within yourself and with others, as well as with your environment. So over the years, I have sought that sort of centering of myself, and you can call it a spiritual centering if you wish. So that I'm very much at ease with myself, and I fancy that I control my mind and hence control my body. So if your mind is upset, then there's certain hormones, adrenaline and noradrenaline, etc., that are prone to be released in the body, as opposed to, say, the serotonin hormones, which are more peaceful. So that the mechanisms of fight and flight, so to speak, which are self-preservation mechanisms, they're constantly on the go, and therefore they wear and tear on your system, as opposed to the more sedate hormones, again, acetylcholine, serotonin, and so on, that give you peace of mind and give you happiness internally.
Wow.
I think controlling your mind controls your body.
Yeah.
Gives you better health.
Wow. Controlling your mind controls your body, gives you better health. Thank you. Thank you so much. If you just join us, you are watching the Progressive Mind Show this evening time. This evening edition is titled Time with Dr. Julius Garvey, the son of the legendary Marcus Garvey. And a lot of you have heard the name. You may not know the full story because his work is a lot. His work is huge and has made a global impact. His son is here, and we are talking to him. We're going to learn a lot from him today. We've already learned from what he's talking, from what he said regarding controlling your mind and all of that. One who said that, well, you are the son of of the great Marcus Garvey. So of course, you were privileged and had maybe all this knowledge. But let's try and get to you yourself. Your bio speaks to your work in the medical field. First of all, what do you see wrong with today's healthcare system? We're in America, so let's talk about American health system briefly. What do you see wrong in the healthcare system? What do you see wrong with people handling their health? And how do you think we can find a balance?
Yeah, I think that if you look at the disease states that are prevalent now in the West and in America, they're basically lifestyle diseases, and I would say 80% of them. Only about 5% of the diseases that we have been genetically dominant, so to speak, so that when you're born, you have them, and they're an expression of your genes. As I mentioned, over 80% of the diseases that we have, whether it's vascular or neurological or even very often the cancers, they're lifestyle. Now, part of that, of course, is the stress, but part of that also is the environment in which we live, because we live in a very chemical environment. That chemical environment involves our school, our food. We have genetically modified organisms. They're sprayed with all sorts of chemicals, herbicides, fungicides, different fertilizer materials to make them grow faster, etc. And these things end up in our foods and end up in our bodies. Right now, your body and mine has over 100 chemicals that we don't know what the long-term effect of those are. So we live in this kind of environment. But you flip that a little bit in terms of the healthcare system, I think we don't have so much a healthcare system as we have a disease treatment system. So that you do not find that the healthcare system is telling you a lot about prevention of disease and how to promote your health. Because we live in an environment that's very dominated by commodities and selling you things that you don't really need in terms of that's something that's beneficial to you. Right. Like all of the Big Macs with all of the cheese and all of the bacon and all of the meat, etc. As a matter of fact, again, 80% of the diseases that we have could be treated very well with a plant-based diet and stress reduction and so on. I mentioned in terms of the mind controlling the body, as well as getting away from the toxins within the environment.
Right.
The Western system is very, very good for emergencies. As you know, we've created a lot of emergencies. We have created 2 world wars and the Korean War and the Vietnamese War. So, basically we know a lot about treating injuries. So that we're very, very good at that. But we're not very good at treating these long-term illnesses because we focus on the symptoms and our lifestyle, meaning that the culture that we live in promotes a lot of these diseases. And therefore, the culture, shall we say, the lifestyle is anti-health. And that's the environment for the medical system to treat the symptoms, or not to treat the disease, because then you'd have to change the culture.
Right.
I said a lot of the diseases are lifestyle.
Lifestyle. Thank you for sharing. You mentioned that you indulged in soccer, growing up, but you have a beautiful family. Tell us a little bit about Dr. Julius Garvey that is not necessarily out there. We would like to know. We'd like to know a little bit better, if you don't mind sharing. Apart from you being a professor, a surgical medical doctor, and a professor in the health sector, of course, family. What else are the things that you were involved in?
Well, basically, I'm a son of my parents, and my father was the major Pan-Africanist of the first half of the 20th century, and he could be called the father of Pan-Africanism. And his organization, the Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League, is the largest organization of African people ever outside of the continent of Africa. Back in the 20s, he had more than 6 million members and followers. And the organization, staged the first international conference of the Negro peoples of the world back in 1920. And they had several other conferences, etc., that focused on the conditions of African people worldwide. And they came up basically with our Magna Carta, meaning Magna Carta for African people, in terms of the principles of the Negro peoples of the world. There were 54 different principles, shall we say, outlining the nature of our Pan-African nation, which was Africa for the Africans, those at home and those abroad. And it spells it out quite, succinctly in terms of what we would tolerate and what we would not tolerate, and how we would develop ourselves as a nation in exile. Because at that particular time, there was only Liberia and Ethiopia were independent. But Liberia itself was a client state of the United States. So, the idea was to colonize Africa and free all the African states, so to speak, and develop a United States of Africa, which we've gone some way towards, meaning that we have an African Union, but we don't really have a federated state of African states. The 55 states are not bound together in a federal union. And this has to come, because that's the only way that the problems of Africa can be solved. But this is what he was about back then in the 20s. And of course, that went against the colonial powers. It went against the apartheid structure here in the United States of America. So he was a marked man by people such as J. Edgar Hoover of the FBI, as well as the colonial government. So they set out to destroy him, if you will, and the organization. And they were able to bring charges against him in 1923, imprison him in 1925 for bogus charges about using the mail to defraud, to commit fraud. And, but the organization has survived. His principles have survived. Basically, the Pan-Africanism was, his brand of Pan-Africanism, shall we say, was passed on to people such as Kwame Nkrumah, Jomo Kenyatta, Nandi Azikiwe, and so many other the early Pan-Africanists in Africa.
Yeah.
Pan-Africanism actually started in the diaspora and
Exactly.
then was taken to Africa.
Yeah. That's very powerful, and we're excited we're sharing this. This is Black History Month, and in our quest to educate ourselves during Black History Month, it's very important that we have some of these connections and tie the history or the story of Africa to the African diasporans. And thank you for bringing that up. But let's get to know how you shared. So thank you for sharing your father's story, the late Marcus Garvey, a man who was able to lead an organization of 6 million people. Extraordinary. Is a man who hailed from the Kingston, Jamaica. Now, how was it growing up with this man? If you read his story, there are some indications that there are some stories that indicated that somehow he was his own enemy. That the fact that he would not listen to anybody, he only made decisions and took decisions on his own, and sometimes just acted on things that he believed in and were not necessarily listening to the people around him. You are his son, and you were closer to him than anybody. Can you touch on this subject for us? As a father to you, was he the kind of person that was portrayed that he didn't like to listen to people and all of that?
Well, first of all, let me say this, as an African people, we have been miseducated because we've been educated by the people who enslaved us and colonized us and continue to oppress us and dehumanize us. So what you're repeating there is what basically the oppressor has said about Marcus Garvey. Now, let me ask you a question, and you need to ask your sources. Did Albert Einstein listen to anybody else when he came up with his theory of relativity? Who of his contemporaries were as intelligent as he was? That would critique his theory of relativity and tell him what to do. I suggest to you that the idiots around Marcus Garvey who said that he would not listen to them, name them and tell me what contributions they have made to society, any society. Okay? So how dare them say that he wouldn't listen? Listen to who? How do you listen to somebody who is not as intelligent as you? What is the point when you know what you're about? You see, it's as difficult for some people to accept a black man as a genius. But Marcus Garvey was a polymath. And if you look and understand all of his work, he was an organizer, he was a journalist, he was a printer, he was a poet, he wrote songs, and you can go on in terms of his knowledge of history and contemporary socio-political situation.
Right.
And the formation of the foundations of Pan-Africanism. It's pure genius.
It's pure genius. We'll come to the foundation, the vision, the essence of Pan-Africanism. But again, and I really want us to, thank you for sharing, because for us, the younger ones, we read what's out there about him, right? And sometimes it's on YouTube, it's on Google, and, some documentaries and all of that. And so this is what we know. And so we are grateful that you are here. We are very, very humbled that you are here. And you can share some of these things that we've heard, and authenticate them and authenticate them or not. So thank you for sharing. Whilst he was organizing and coming up with the idea of Pan-Africanism, I'm sure you were young kids, going to school and back and forth. Again, tell us about your father. What kind of father was he? Obviously, with a man of all this responsibility, leading this mass people globally. I mean, you would know, it's obvious that he'll be super, super busy. But tell us his relationship with you and the family, how he came home and how he related with you. Can you please share some of those stories with us?
Yes, you have to realize that, first of all, there were two of us in terms of his children.
Right.
I had an older brother, Marcus. He was Marcus Jr., 3 years older than myself. He died in 2020. in December. And
Sorry to hear that.
I mentioned that he was 3 years older
Mhm.
because in terms of what you're asking, and my father died in 1940. And the last time I saw him, he died in England. The last time I saw him in England, I was 5 years of age.
Hmm.
And the last time but he died 2 years later when I was back in Jamaica, because we had to go back to Jamaica
Okay.
because my brother developed arthritis in his knee because of the cold and damp climate in England.
Okay.
So the memories that I have, and my brother would have had,
Right.
are childhood memories
Yeah.
of a father,
Mm.
Yeah. Playing or at dinner,
Yeah.
or going to the movies,
Mm.
or those type of childish memories.
Yeah.
Not of him as a politician,
Right.
or a philosopher, or anything else in that sense, as a benign presence in our household,
Right.
who was loving and kind.
Mm.
We knew about my father through my mother.
Mm.
She's the one that brought us up. And as I mentioned, we had to go back to Jamaica. She brought us back to Jamaica, and we grew up in Jamaica. Again, I was from 5 years until I migrated to Canada at age 19. But we grew up in Jamaica, and my mother never remarried. And she always, kept his presence alive to us. So he was always there. So we always knew about who he was, what he was doing. And then after he died, we knew more and more about the work that he had done.
Mm.
So she was the major presence, but she always painted the picture of my father as, this giant of a person who was carrying, shall we say, the whole race on his back, as it was said at that time, 400 million, African people. He represented that in terms of his organization and what they were trying to do, unite that large number of people to throw off colonialism and to develop our own, your space, our own systems based on our own ideologies, our own traditions, and our own history and culture.
Mm. Mm.
So we grew up in relationship to my dad. It was
No, powerful. Thanks for sharing. Did she also share with you maybe how he loved soccer? Did you know about that? If he ever loved soccer?
No, I know that he loved boxing.
Boxing, okay.
Yeah, although he was not a boxer, but he loved it as a sport.
He loved
cricket as a sport.
Thank you so much. Did she also share whether he was a religious man, if he loved God, whatever, and he was dedicated to?
Look at his writings. He was very spiritual.
Mm.
As a matter of fact, I think he considered his purpose in life as something that was spiritual. Looking at his autobiography and things that he wrote, it was on his way back from England after he had traveled throughout the Caribbean, throughout Central America, South America, and throughout Europe. On his way back in 1914, while laying on his bunk on the ship coming back from Liverpool, as he said, he had been everywhere, and he'd seen that the black man was at the bottom of the social scale everywhere, economically and otherwise. And there were no men of great affairs, no ambassadors, no presidents, etc. And he felt that it was his job, so to speak, to change that, because he also knew history, and he knew that we were once a great people, we're the original people, the original civilizations. And he said that he saw it in himself that he had to redeem Africa, meaning to reconstruct African civilization along contemporary lines based on our traditions. So that was a spiritual experience for him at that time.
Wow. Thank you so much. We're learning a lot. And maybe the last two questions on your great father, our hero, is again, did your mom share with you his favorite food and his favorite reggae artist? Did he love music at all? Was any of those musicians his favorite?
Well, reggae hadn't developed at that time.
Oh, okay.
But he wrote music, he wrote songs. I mean, he had a hit back in his days in Harlem, which was a song called Keep Cool. And he also had an organization, a band in the organization called the Universal Jazz Hounds. So we do know that he also liked jazz.
Okay. And we know Jamaicans love their plantain, their beans, jerk chicken. Did you know any of his favorite food?
Well, no, not directly per se, but I do know that he loved a lot of fruit juices. My mother used to say that, and he loved to mix all the different fruit juices, the orange juice and the grapefruit juice, et cetera, et cetera. So he always said that if it wasn't what he was, he would be a chemist because he loved to mix all these juices together.
Oh my God! Oh my God! You know what? We could spend. Actually, we should have another day on the life of Marcus Garvey. But we know that there was a project that you are currently working on, and we would like to get into that. And so, viewers, if you just tuned in, this is the Progressive Mind Show. We're still celebrating Black History Month. It is 31 minutes past 6 p.m. Central Time. We're talking to Dr. Julius Garvey, the direct son of Marcus Garvey, and we are very, very honored. You want to share the feed if you're on Facebook. We are live on YouTube and on Twitter. So please share this message share the feed for us so we can get the message, the reason why he is here. Time with Dr. Julius Garvey, very, very important in the month of February and in the month of Black History. Once again, our co-host, Michelle Okenard, has been tied up due to work schedule, so she couldn't make it today. We'll go straight to Dr. Garvey. For those of you who want to call in, I saw someone calling earlier. Iman Agbe, we'll take calls in the next 20, 30 minutes, okay? We want Doctor to go into a few of the things that talk about the reasons why we're here, some of the reasons why we're here. So please bear with us. But you can call us on 815-277-5047. Once the phone line is open, you can do that. Dr. Garvey, please go. Let us know why. Before you tell us that your late father started Pan-Africanism, and a lot of us hear of Pan-Africanism. Please tell us the significance of Pan-Africanism to the entire Black race globally.
Well, basically, Pan-Africanism, as we define it nowadays, is the reconstruction of African civilization, because Africans have a very special place in the world. So that when you say African, it's supposed to have a meaning beyond, say, just the phenotype. It has a meaning in terms of our history and our culture, because we have the longest history in the world and the most penetrating traditions, because we're the first people and the first with consciousness and the first to experience ourselves as spiritual entities. So we know who we are. We've always known who we are. And we have not had to be contaminated by different ideologies that have come up and said, well, who are we? Mm-hmm. And I come up with a speculative idea, such as the Greeks. The Greeks developed speculative philosophy, but philosophy should be about wisdom. And while philosophy means a love of wisdom, from the African perspective, wisdom comes from experience. It's not about thinking and talking and logic. It's about the experience of who you are as a spiritual entity and your relationship to the source that has created you. And it's all there in the original writings, the hieroglyphics, etc., of our Kemetic culture. So that is what has come down to us through the years. Now we've been disassociated from that because of slavery, and which is both Arab slavery and European slavery, and because of colonialism. Which again, there's been invasion of the Arabs from the north and the east, and invasion of the Europeans from the north to some extent, but from the west and the south. So that our civilizations have been interrupted. So Pan-Africanism is a restructuring of our civilizations and the creation of our identity as geopolitical as well as sociocultural. Because we do have the continent, which is the richest continent in the world, the most expansive, because we can hold Europe, the United States, China, and India within our continent. So, and the riches are phenomenal in terms of oil and diamonds and gold and platinum and other minerals, etc., etc. So it's a redefinition of who we are as a people along modern lines, because the traditions are there. But as I said, we were interrupted. So now we have to integrate our history with the Industrial Revolution and what happened in the last 500 years, shall we say, while we have been oppressed and dehumanized by the Eurocentric perspectives.
I'm going to ask, I'll follow up with this question. With what you just narrated, what Pan-Africanism is and its importance, do you see a future with it? Do you think that Africans will be able to, or Black people would be able to follow and carry on the mantle that your late father, the great Marcus Garvey, W.E. Du Bois, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, and all these great men decided to initiate, having gotten the vision so many years ago? Do you think that you see hope in this, in the future for us?
Well, there's been tremendous progress. As I mentioned, the attacks against us as a people have been going on for 500 years. Now, most of our independence movements have only occurred since the 60s. Of course, Ghana was 1957, but Nigeria and many of the other countries have been since the 60s. And then we very quickly formed the Organization of African Unity, which then devolved into the African Union, which we now have. And the African Union is forming itself into eventually it would have to be federated states of Africa. But right now we have these regional entities in terms of ECOWAS, SADC, etc. And we're looking at, for example, in ECOWAS, they're looking at a single currency. If you look at the African Union itself, it is trying to develop a continental free trade area. Their plans for railroads, etc., from north to south and from east to west. So all of these things are happening. There's an attempt for linguistic conglomeration, if you will, probably Swahili in the east, and maybe some other language in the west. I don't know whether it would be Yoruba or what have you. But those are signs of progress that are being made in terms of moving towards the United States of Africa, if you will.
Awesome. Thank you. And if you look at the African diaspora as it is, I think we have a caller coming in, but we can't take this call now. If you look at the African diaspora as it is, maybe you can just give me the shortest answer possible. Do you think that we have a healthy relationship? Do you think that we look at each other the same compared to other ethnic groups and other races in the diaspora? What's your response to that?
Well, I think, comparison is invidious because nobody has gone through the Holocaust that African people have gone through. In order to deposit 15 million or so of us in the diaspora, certainly in the Americas, etc., 50 million or so, had to be displaced or killed, and kingdoms were destroyed in Africa, not in West Africa, but Central Africa and Southern Africa. So nobody has the inhumanity that has been meted out to African people is unprecedented in human history. So we're not going to compare Africans with anybody else.
Good.
Nobody else came to Europe or came to the Americas under the same circumstances.
Right.
So we need to look at ourselves and what happened to us over time.
Good. Now, based on what has happened to us, do you think that we have the healthiest relationship as needed? Do you think that Caribbeans and Africans, African Americans in the diaspora, do you think that we are gelling as we are supposed to, in your opinion?
Well, everything is a process, and there's no question but that we're gelling. As you know, 2019 was dubbed the year of return, certainly by the Ghana government, and many other African countries have done the same thing in terms of inviting the diaspora back, such as Liberia and Sierra Leone and others. We just saw the Ethiopian diaspora going back to Ethiopia, basically to support Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. This is progressive.
Okay.
We had conferences between the Caribbean and the African Union, between CARICOM, which is a Caribbean community, and the African Union, and that's an ongoing process.
Awesome.
And we have a seat in the Parliament of the African Parliament, which is a part of the AU.
Yeah.
It's housed in South Africa. So these are all positive things. And the return is continuing. I know many people who have either gone back or going back or are investing and working with Africa. And I think we also know that the amount of funds that go back to Africa from its recent diaspora is larger than the foreign direct investment. So, the diaspora is alive and well, and it does have significant connections to the continent.
Thank you so much. One powerful thing among all the powerful things that you said, you mentioned it's going to happen progressively, and that's what is happening. So thank you so much for elaborating on that. And again, I keep saying my last question, but this truly be my last question. Do you think that Africans, continental Africans, have a lead role to play in connecting with the rest of the diaspora, be it in our relationship or business? And I will ask this last question. I will add this one to the question. Do you think that African leaders should follow the example of Ghana and offer a lot of land to fellow diasporans? Do you think reparations should start with us, Africans? If I say Africans, I mean continental Africans.
Mm-hmm. Well, I never looked at it from the perspective of calling it reparations. But yes, Africans need to reach out. Continental Africans need to reach out to us in the diaspora, but not from any sort of guilty perspective, because we know the political and physical force that was needed to bring about the enslavement of our people. So there's no need for a guilt trip there. But there are 300 million at least of us here in the diaspora, and we're reasonably well educated and have significant resources, both financial as well as in terms of our ability, whether it's in the areas of commerce and industry, understanding organizational structures, etc.
Yep.
So that it's a great resource that Africa needs to help to build itself. And I'm in New York, and I think there are more Nigerian doctors in New York than probably any other ethnicity, and maybe more than in Nigeria for that matter. So there are a lot of us in the diaspora that could help significantly in the development of the continent. Awesome.
Now let's go to the program that you're on now. Are you still practicing? I know you retired, but are you practicing medicine on the side? And how does it tie into the main focus of our discussion this evening?
No, I was practicing for a long time, but then I got perfect and I retired about almost 3 years ago. So I no longer, practice medicine. Basically, what I'm involved with at the present time is to get an exoneration of my father from the criminal charges that were brought against him by J. Edgar Hoover and the FBI back in 1923, 1925. And we have a petition going to send to President Biden to exonerate Marcus Garvey. And, your listeners can go to our website, justiceforgarvey.org, justice4garvey.org, and they'll be able to see the link that will take them to the White House. And there'll be 3 questions that they need to answer. One is who do you want to contact? And it will be President Biden. 2, that they will ask you, for your name and your personal information. And then 3, they'll ask you, well, what is it you want to communicate to the president? And then you write in exonerate Marcus Garvey. So it's a simple 3-step process, and it doesn't take very long. And in a day or 2, you'll get a response from the president thanking you, for your interest, etc. So I'm urging all of your listeners to do that. Go to justice4garvey.org to get that link, and then to ask, relatives, friends, people in your organizations, etc., to do the same thing. It's very important. We need to get over 100,000 signatures, and the period of time is all of February until March the 2nd, which is a 30-day period. And in that way, the president has to respond. If we get over 100,000 signatures, then it becomes something that, a large enough constituency wants an answer to, and he has to respond yes or no in terms of the exoneration of Marcus Garvey.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. And so far, when did this campaign start?
February the 1st.
February 1st. Oh, okay, February 1st. And so far, what is the response?
Well, it's been, quite significant in terms of people going to our website. We don't have an actual count yet from the White House, but that's coming up. But we just need more people to keep going.
Okay.
We'd love to get 250,000, 500,000, or whatever.
Right. Dr. Mélida, I know if you're watching now, the information to join the feed, Dr. Mélida, who is the founder and president of 6th Global Chamber of Commerce, is supposed to be joining us for the rest of the show. Dr. Garvey is going to be here. Originally was scheduled to be here for an hour from 6 to 7. We still have a few minutes to go. Dr. Mélida should be joining us in a few. Looks like she's already here. We'll be adding her to the feed. Dr. Julius Garvey, it'll be an honor to introduce Dr. Mélida Harris Barrow, who is basically on a project called The Journey of Reconciliation, which is to what you just spoke about. She's organizing African kings and queens. They are coming all the way from Africa to Panama to reconcile with their children, with the diaspora children. It's a very powerful thing that she's doing. And so she'll be joining us very soon. We would like to, before we, if you want to ask, if the phone lines are open now, feel free to ring in to say a word or hi to the son of Marcus Garvey. I think it's better if I say it that way. But we are here with Dr. Julius Garvey, and of course,
I'm going to have to leave shortly.
Okay. All right. So we just have a few feed here. Please post the website to Garvey's exoneration efforts. Thank you, sir. Okay. We would can we this www. Dr. Garvey, what's the website again, please?
Justiceforgarvey.org. Justice, the number 4, Garvey.org.
Okay. So we have it here. We have Garvey.org. Okay. So here we go. I'm going to bring Dr. Mélida in now to say a quick hello to okay. So we have it. Okay, so there's a little glitch here. Let me bring okay, so we're having a little glitch, but we'll try and get Dr. Mélida in. we would okay, so here are a few comments. Many of the member states have not ratified the Sixth Region Constitution. No, okay, that's not it. Here is a comment I want Dr. Garvey, especially being from Jamaica. Many of us have repatriated already, but are still having challenges in settling in the many of the member states. Do you have any advice on how we can approach this from the AU level? I met you at the AU years ago.
No, as far as I know, the AU does not have a policy. That's why I'm saying that we need still other ways to go in terms of it being a federated union. It's not a federated union, and each nation state acts, as it wishes, because it has its own president, etc., and its own constitution, and it deals with it the way it chooses to deal with it. As I mentioned, I know that some places such as Ghana, Liberia, and Sierra Leone are very open. Gambia is also are very open to immigrants, if you will. And Ghana has been giving citizenship to immigrants. But, there are a number of things that need to be resolved, like a common passport, etc., within Africa, etc. And like I said, the only way you can get that sort of thing if you move towards being a federated states where, the central government, so to speak, has authority over all the other entities that make up the federal government.
Okay, so that should be it. Dr. Garvey has to leave due to his tight schedules, and so we would take leave of him now. We wanted to get Dr. Mélida into the studio, but we're having some glitches, so we would want to. I think Dr. Mélida is here.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yes, please share your your closing. I'm sorry. I think we're having technical issues. Please share your closing remarks with us, Dr. Garvey, and hopefully we shall have you.
Thank you for having me. You're doing a good job in terms of informing your community, and I just want to say again that the Pan-Africanism doesn't mean that everybody goes back to Africa, but you have to build the African communities where you live. So that's part of it. As I mentioned before, it was the Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League. And as Kwame Nkrumah said, it doesn't matter where you are, Africa is born in you. So you build your communities wherever you live. But of course, many of us want to go to the continent, and many of us have resources and abilities that we can share with continental Africa and help to develop the continent to what it needs to be in terms of the reconstruction of an African civilization that is basically, geopolitically significant in terms of its relationship to other nation states. So again, thank you for having me. It's been my pleasure.
Thank you, Dr. Julius Garvey, for blessing our platform. We hope that in the future we can have you here to share your knowledge with us. We are pleased to have you. Have a wonderful evening. Dr. Garvey, that was Dr. Julius Garvey. We would want to take a short break. When we come back, we'll try to introduce Dr. Mélida Harris Barrow, who is the CEO and founder of, actually, we have her now, Dr. Mélida Harris Barrow. The plot was to introduce you.
I know. I've been sitting here in the backstage.
I saw you. The
Yes.
issue had been a technical one. It's a technical issue. So trying to bring you into the feed has been a challenge, which we've never had to experience. And so I was actually going to reset my whole system, but I'm live and I can't do it now. So, oh man, we missed the opportunity, but I'm sure you heard him.
Yes, the last 5 minutes. Yes,
man,
yes.
It would have been a powerful combination if you were already on this, if you were on the show with him.
Yes.
But you know how we do it. We'll make it. We'll arrange it. We'll make it happen again very soon.
That's
okay?
right.
We'll make it out very soon. Before we bring you in, let's take a short break. When we come back, we can continue the conversation with Dr. Mélida Harris Barrow. Please stay tuned with us. This is the Progressive Mind Show. very talented young people who have decided to follow.
Then another year it starts again. Well, this is different.
We should definitely be talking to those wonderful people. Once again, we urge you to share the feed on Facebook.
Hi there, I'm Faida, and today we're going to be talking about the African diaspora in Mexico.
Whether UK likes it or not, I have to leave this country.
I became a member and a chief of the Vice Lord all in one day.
All these guys, winds out of the north at Midway Airport.
His father.
Rising beats. Okay, kids, we have had to come to an end of this beautiful set.
It's not about the
This is the inside account of the week that brought the Rainbow Nation to its knees.
Right, essentially trying to implement into this. Welcome back to the show. This is Alinco, and we are going to be talking to Dr. Mélida Harris Barrow. This is the Progressive Mind Show. We are the number one. Today is February 23, 2022. The time is it's 3 minutes to 7 p.m. Central. And if you're watching us, please help share the feed as we continue to build our community. And again, for those who just joined us, we just spoke to a living legend, the son of Marcus Garvey, the only Marcus Garvey that you know, the one we all know about. His son was here about an hour ago, sharing some of the stories about his father and his legacy, and also what he is currently doing now. And so we were blessed to hear from him some of the wisdom and knowledge that he had to share. And today, part of his father's work and part of what he's currently doing, Dr. Julius Garvey, is connected to what Dr. Mélida Harris Barrow is doing. And Dr. Mélida Harris Barrow is an astute student of Marcus Garvey, for those who don't know. A lot of Black social activists, political activists, whatever, social activists, name them, have been inspired by Marcus Garvey. And his work has touched everyone globally. And so Dr. Mélida Harris Barrow is not a stranger to this show. Yasantua is my favorite name for her. If you know the work she's doing, you will know why I call it Yasantua. Yasantua, you're welcome to the show. You are looking so beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. And we plan to have you and some of the kings and queens on this platform, but unfortunately, I know they live in different parts of Africa, and it's difficult to get these kings to stay up late to do shows like this.
Yes.
But we nearly got some. If we had some time, we would be able to get.
Yes.
But the event is in May, so definitely we can plan and get some of them on the show to talk about. But for those who don't know who you are and are first time seeing you, maybe a minute, so you can let them know who Yasantua really, really is.
But you have to tell them who she is first.
Okay. Yes.
Because they don't know.
They don't. Well, I'm assuming I'm talking to Ghanaians. Okay. But
I know.
Yasantua is a female that hails from the Asante Kingdom. She's an Akan, hails from the Asante Kingdom or the Akan Kingdom in Ghana. And at the time during slavery, he was one of the few women that led men to fight the British. During his time, things were tough. Men had fought, but it got to a time there were lack of men to lead men to fight the British. And this woman said, I will fight for my people. And at the time, if you know African tradition and African culture, women are not allowed to take leadership role. Women are literally left in the back end, take care of the kitchen, let alone to lead men to go to war. And so you can understand the bravado of this woman to decide to lead his men to fight the British. And she did a great job in that, defeated some of the British, but in the long run, of course, the battle was lost, but the war continues, right? The fight still continues, and his work and her sacrifice and her dedication has lived on, and her spirit is living on. And I feel like she has reincarnated to some people like Dr. Mélida Harris Barrow. Okay. I've seen women who are leading courses and leading charges, but Dr. Mélida Harris Barrow is unique. And I'm not the one saying it. Everybody that knows this woman know who she is. And if you don't know her, go research her. Dr. Mélida Harris Barrow, once again, you're welcome. And feel free to add anything that I may have left. Please, you're welcome once again.
You said it all. You said it all. I just want to thank you for inviting me. We go way back.
Yeah.
And we are a team. And I think that's the idea. I am the chairman of the Sixth Region Global Chamber of Commerce that was created for purpose, for us to begin to do business with each other. And then here come the play of the journey of reconciliation of Mother Africa and her diaspora, which is going to take place in Panama City, Panama. But we will talk further about that. But I want to add to what you were saying. There are so many women in the world that's ready to lead, that's ready to do many things that God assigned them to. And what's happening is that our men cannot believe that we are this strong and that we're powerful beyond measures. So I had to not allow anyone to tell me what I cannot do. Only God can tell me what is it that I cannot do. So at this point, I've realized that I'm God's ambassador in the world. And I am doing things that even amaze me. It is not easy to knock on the door of a king and say, this is why I'm here. I want you to be in Panama because your ancestors are still crying out. Your people are still around the world. What our ancestors have done in the past, this is the time now for us to come together and we reconcile with each other, heal. There's so many things that tonight I want to talk about because sometimes we are afraid to speak and we cannot continue to do that. I think it's time for us now to speak about who we are and also speak about our history. And as everyone tried to run to go to Africa, Africa is within me, as Julius said, it's within me. And no matter where I go, I'm in Africa, you see. So those are important things that we're going to talk about tonight.
Thank you, Dr. Mélida. We are honored to have someone like you leading this charge and motivating people. You're right. We've been working together. We'll always work together. Our hearts are in the right space.
Yes.
Each time you come to Chicago to have a talk in a type of event, all the people love you. You are sitting there and I'm with the people, we talk. Everybody loves you when you begin to speak. And so that power, the voice you have, we thank God for enabling you and empowering you and giving the strength. I know Reverend Kelvin Sauls is in the background, and I'm experiencing the same technical difficulty, Dr. Mélida. I'm not able to add him. So Yeah, so Reverend Kelvin Sauls, if you're listening, I'll need you to call in instead of joining the live show. I sincerely apologize. I'm having this technical difficulty.
Or maybe he can come out and come back in.
No, it's not even him. It's my
it's okay.
Yeah, it's my I need to upgrade my laptop, the things, my equipment. So this calls for help. We are 501c, and we need your donation. The progressivemindshow.com. If you go on our website, you can make donations to us. We need to update our equipment. I didn't even know that this problem would develop. It just literally developed, and I'm able to add 10 people to this feed. But today, I'm not even able to add anybody else. I see Reverend Kevin in the background, and I can bring him to the virtual studio. So, guys, please support the Progressive Mind Show. This is what we do with every support that you give us, every resource and financial resources that you give us. This is what we do with it. And so, please, we're calling for your assistance. Dr. Mélida Harris, let's talk about, you came up with the Sixth Region Global Chamber of Commerce.
Yes.
And you have done marvelously well with it. If you don't know it, please check out her website. Briefly give us a concept of it, and let's talk about the journey of reconciliation itself. All right.
Sure.
So people can see the connection.
Sure.
Okay.
When I started the Sixth Region Global Chamber of Commerce, it's actually a strategic plan. I knew already I had the vision 3 years before the journey of reconciliation. And the reason I started it is because oftentimes when we join chambers, it's not really benefiting us as people of African descent. We tend to spend money outside of our community.
Yes, Pastor Reverend Sauls, please hold on a second, okay?
Okay.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, we're spending too much money outside of our community, and the purpose for this chamber is for us to spend money with each other. We are having quite a few global trade missions coming up. We just started actually 2020, and now we're putting everything together. Actually, what we're doing is the journey of reconciliation of Mother Africa is to have kings and queens come to our regions, which is Latin America, North America, and also the Caribbean through the transatlantic slave trade regions. And why we're doing this, because I recognize that when we're doing business with each other, there's no docking station, there's no platform to even inform us of the business opportunities in the world. So having a chamber, the Sixth Region mean that the African Union has the continent had 5 regions, and which is North, South, West, East, and Central. And the African Union created the Sixth Region. That is every African outside of Africa. That includes all of us in Latin America and in the Caribbean, in North America, and the world. So the Sixth Region Global Chamber, it is going to have all those of African descent in the chamber and others as well. So now it's time now for us to merge with each other in order to, what we're going to do is facilitate the services to our brothers and sisters in Africa and around the world. One of the things that I've discovered is that Africans don't know much about the business opportunities in Latin America and the Caribbean and other places, other countries.
Yeah.
So we are now going to provide that service. For example, Africans don't know that we have the second largest free zone in the world, and that's in Panama. So we are now breaking grounds, traveling to Africa, introducing my African brothers and sisters about business opportunities in Latin America, in the Caribbean, and among people of African descent in America.
Wow. And I know it's been a challenge trying to trying to put this together?
Not really, you know.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you why. I think people need to know why.
Yeah.
God is with me.
Mm.
And whatever challenge that comes my way, you know what I say? I can't handle this one. This is yours, God. You handle that one for me. And I am moving like lightning. You understand?
Mm.
Because we have to begin now to have God in the midst of the things that we're doing. So whatever challenges might face our team, you know, it goes away. Why? Because we're so positive. Because this journey, it is not a program, it's not an event, it's a spiritual event. It's a journey.
It's a spiritual journey.
Exactly. This is a spiritual journey because we're not just going to have this in Panama, we're going to have this around the world. Each year, we're traveling around the world, bringing history, bringing business, culture, all of these things, because we don't know our history, Sena. We don't know our history.
Yeah.
And you don't either in Africa, because you are still being educated under the influence of Europeans, and they're not teaching us of our history. We have to teach our children now and change that mindset in order for us to be who we really are as God created us.
Thank you. And in the spirit of Black History Month, I studied last time on my show that I thank God for Black History Month, because Dr. Mel, you know what it does? It forces, or at least motivates and encourages and reminds Africans to know our own history, or to go back and look at our own history again, right? Because without Black History Month, you're right, we were not taught about our own history, and Africans are now motivated. Nothing pushes us to go learn about our past and our people and our ancestors and our own history. So Black History Month helps us to know the history of African Americans, or the diaspora history, and also triggers us to learn our own history, because it's the same. It's our story, and we are glad to be telling it. You mentioned the resources that lies in the diaspora, in the African diaspora, in the Caribbean, Latin America. You are so right. A lot of us don't know it. And so the Sixth Region is there to connect, you know, folks who want to do business globally, and that's so powerful. Dr. Reverend,
can I just say something before you bring Kelvin in about our history and about Black History Month? Black History Month, as you say, encourage us to learn about ourselves. I need to say this. It is time enough to not allow a month or anyone else to encourage us. The reason why we're not encouraged is because we don't know who we are. That's number one. Number two, when you have a system that continues to not teach you who you are, that's why we're being encouraged. We should not be encouraged. We should teach our children who we are. We need to change the curriculum of what we're teaching our children. So therefore, our children don't need encouragement. They don't need that push. They would have already know who they are. And by knowing who you are, you'll celebrate your history, who you are, 365 days a year. This is supposed to be within you.
Yeah.
You see, we don't need encouragement. What we need is to know our history.
Yeah.
You see, and then once you know your history, you don't need encouragement from anyone. So I just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah. No, thank you. Thank you. What I also said was that it helps remind us.
Yeah. We shouldn't be reminded.
Okay. We should know. Right.
We shouldn't be reminded.
We should
be living it.
Good.
Who we are. We should be living it. Europeans don't wait a month to celebrate who they are. We're the only ones that does that. They know who they are every single day. They don't have a month to go and celebrate. And what they're celebrating is not who they are. They're celebrating other things. So we don't need to be reminded. What we need to be is educated.
Educated. Okay. So Black people now, we have to make it part of our lives to be learning
there
about.
you go.
Yeah,
That's the issue right here.
Yeah.
This needs to be part of your life. You don't need to wear your African attire in the month of February. You need to wear it as a lifestyle. This is not someone reminding you or should remind you of who you are.
I hear that.
I know who I am. So I don't need to wait till February. I actually don't celebrate Black History Month because I celebrate it every day. I know who I am.
Yeah.
So I don't need man to tell me, especially those that have oppressed me, to remind me who I am. And that's what I'm saying. We need to go beyond that. We need to go to the point where we need to have a school system that will talk about us every day. Then you don't need to be reminded.
Okay, now that you brought it up, thank you so much for enforcing that idea of us living Black History Month every day. How about the conversation of healing? That especially when it comes to the diaspora, Black people have gone through a lot.
Yes.
And so it affects the way we treat each other. And so how about that conversation of healing? How do we go about it? Should it be, Black every month, like every year of the month, like Black History Month, we engage, like, do all these rituals and all these ceremonies? Or, like you said, every day should be a healing process for us. And how do we do that?
You know what? I want Pastor Kelvin to come in.
Okay.
Wait. Because I want to have that conversation with him.
Okay. Pastor Kelvin, she opened the door for you now. So sorry to have kept you waiting for a little bit. And my apologies. Today being the first time on the show, we haven't been able to connect you as usual. But after today, we'll try and work on the technicalities. But welcome to the Progressive Mind Show for the first time. I know we just texted each other of doing something together. This is a form of it. We'll do something proper in the future. But again, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me, Alinco. It's good to be here, and greetings to my folks in Chi-Town and all around the world.
Awesome.
So good to be with you and good to be with Dr. Mélida. And thanks for that setup.
Thank you. Before you continue, who is Pastor Kelvin Sauls or Reverend Kelvin Sauls?
Reverend Kelvin Sauls. I am a Black immigrant, 24/7, 365 a year.
Hello.
All right. So I think that's
hello.
I was born and raised in South Africa. I'm a faith-rooted community organizer. I have pastored in the United Methodist Church for over 20 years around the country, but primarily in California. And every congregation I've been a part of, Black History Month was an opportunity to celebrate the global African tapestry of who we are as a people every day. And the month was really a culmination of who we were, but it was also a platform for who we need to become. And so I want to affirm what Dr. Mélida said around, this invitation of how we continue to acknowledge who we are. Now, we understand when Carter D. Woodson, started Black History Week, and why he did that is because in this United States, we have to be very, very clear. The history of our folk in this country has been not just marginalized, but also ongoing attempts to erase it. And that's why, as part of his commitment to celebrating the dignity of Black folk in this country, but not just that, but their contribution to the building of this country, but not just that, but also, the important place that they play in terms of shaping the future direction of this country. He just wanted to let his students get to know and understand, right, who they were, because you and I, Alenko, know that once you know your identity, you will be able to understand your ability. Once you understand your ability, it enlightens you about your capability. Once you bring identity, ability, capability together, it then informs your activity, and all of that helps you shape your destiny.
That's right.
If you want to mess up a person's destiny, you mess up their identity.
That's right.
You see, and so that's who I am in terms of just the work that I do, is in, racial justice, economic justice, and social justice, to see how we can be about, the liberation of our folk, not just in the United States, but around the world. And I'm grateful for a platform like yours, as well as the work that Dr. Mélida has initiated through the Sixth Region, because that's what it invites us into. It sets us on a path to connect with one another in deep and authentic ways, collaborate with one another, and to see how we can shape our futures locally, nationally, and indeed internationally.
Thank you so much. I missed the middle part. Identity, and the last one is activity. So what's in the middle?
Yeah. So it's identity, ability.
There you go.
Capability.
There you go.
Activity, destiny.
Oh my gosh. But I have to. I'm going to try and write this down and make a post of this, because this is powerful.
Yes.
Really, really powerful. Thank you for sharing, giving us a bit background of. So, Reverend Kelvin Sauls, you are Reverend, family-wise. You mind sharing that?
My family is in South Africa.
Okay.
I have family all over, and but currently my family is in South Africa, and I currently reside and work in Los Angeles.
Awesome.
That's where my base is, in South Los Angeles.
Awesome.
And I live at the intersection of South Los Angeles and South Africa.
Okay, great. Dr. Mélida asked you to respond to the question that I asked. I don't know if you remember it or you want me to reiterate.
It's going to be a mutual conversation in the healing part.
So we were talking about, she made a powerful comment about regarding how we should live Black History Month. We should live Black History Month every day. Literally, it should be part of our lives. Just like we would go to work and watch CNN and do these activities every day. We should be learning our history, and make it part of our lifestyle. Then I followed up with a question about, okay, so how about healing, especially when it comes to the diaspora? How do we handle healing? Should it be done just the way she narrated? Should it be an everyday process? And if so, how do we literally go about it?
Yeah, I think that's a very, very important question. I'm also the co-founder of the Black Alliance for Just Immigration, and that is a national organization that works in bridging, Black immigrants and African Americans in our common struggle for racial justice, social justice, and economic justice. And so, as part of that work, we basically worked very, very hard to create safe and courageous spaces for Black immigrants and African Americans to come together and to be in conversation about the pain of our past, the path toward healing, and the possibility of contributing to our collective liberation in this country. And that is an ongoing task that we must do every day. How do we do it? First and foremost, listening. We have to listen to each other's histories so that we can understand where we are all coming from. So just as I need to learn about African American history, I've always encouraged African Americans to learn about South African history. Because once you do that, you begin to realize the similarities of how oppressed structures has marginalized us on two separate continents. So listening is key. Alinco, we don't just listen with our ears, we listen with our hearts. Because in our listening, we will discover that there's much that we do not know about each other.
There you go.
You listen with your heart because then you can listen with the disposition of compassion. Right? And I don't have to say to my African American sisters and brothers, well, y'all don't know this or y'all don't know that. It's my responsibility to basically educate and vice versa. They cannot say to me as a South African, you don't know this or you don't know that. Well, guess what? The platforms and the mediums that informed us about each other, we were not in control of those platforms. Right? So African Americans have a certain image about Africans and South Africans, right? That was informed, that they were informed about by somebody else, and vice versa. That's why listening is so essential. I call listening a spiritual discipline that will determine the direction of your next move. If you're not willing to listen, you are cruising for a bruise. You know what I'm saying? So listening is first in that healing process. Let me say this, and then I have two other points to make about that, but I want to bring in Dr. Mélida as well as she shares her thoughts. The listening, Alinco, starts with me listening to myself first. You see? Because I have to continue to excavate my internal landscape so that excavation can facilitate a cultivation so that I can listen to what my African American brother and sister will be telling me. And if I'm not willing to listen to myself, right, all the crap I've learned about my sisters and my brothers, all the deception, the negativity, the lies, right? If I'm not willing to come to terms with that, right, then I might not be able to hear what they have to say. So the listening starts internal first. And then that listening prepares me to now listen to my sisters and my brothers as I hear from them. And I'm grateful that in my 30 plus years in this country, I have many folk who've come alongside me to share with me and teach me about African American history and culture, the struggle of freedom here, the civil rights struggle, the human rights struggle, and so now I can boldly say that I stand on the bold and broad shoulders of those who've gone before us, not just in South Africa, not just in the United States, but those who are at the intersection, you see, of our common oppression that we've experienced and our common liberation that we continue to work on a daily basis. So listening. I have two other L's. We can get to those, but I want to listen to what my leader has to say in response to what I said.
Dr. Mélida, before you come in, I just want to remind our listeners that you're watching the Progressive Mind Show. Today's edition, we had an hour of a conversation with Dr. Julius Garvey. If you missed it, you can watch it back on this platform, the Progressive Minds page on Facebook and on our YouTube page. We are talking now to Dr. Mélida Harris Barrow, and the main crux of this conversation is the journey of reconciliation, African kings and queens journeying to Panama. We have the main orchestra of this event, Dr. Mélida Harris Barrow, here on the show, and she's being joined by Reverend Kelvin Sauls, and we are going into that. We are going deeper into the convo. Feel free to call in if you want to share your opinion or ask a question. It's 815-277-5047. We were initially supposed to get some kings and queens on the show, but due to schedules and time zones, it didn't happen. We are working hard to get them on here before the event in May. So please stay tuned. Progressive Minds, anything can happen. And so before that, we do have a clip of one of the queens from Congo. You should hear this queen. We will try and play that video. She's not only intelligent and smart, she's also very beautiful. And she's not a queen, she's a king. That's very interesting. She's not a queen, she's a king. We would like to hear that story sometime during the show. Dr. Mélida, please go ahead. I think you were muted. There you go.
Okay, all right. As far as healing, I love what Reverend Kelvin said. It's very important. We don't listen. Sometimes when we're listening, when we're listening, we're really not listening. We're just waiting to say something and not really take the time to listen to what the person has to say. We're so busy trying to just jump in and say what we have to say because it's more about us than what the person is saying. And I believe that self-love is very important when it comes to healing. You know, I had to love myself first before I could do all that I'm doing regarding the journey of reconciliation of Mother Africa and her diaspora. Self-love is key. There's no way I can say that I love you and I hate myself. You know, it's very important in order for us when we say, oh, I love you, my brother, but you don't love yourself. That's it's not going to work. So this is why having the this journey, having the kings and queens, because I could have invited government officials and politicians and so forth, but kings are always there. They're going to remain there. And I think it's important for them to be in that position of reconciling with their brothers and sisters in the world, and not look at each other as though we're different. We are the same people. We might have different things that are somewhat different now due to a colonialism, due to slavery, but we are the same people. But reconciling with each other is important. Healing is important. And I think this is why we're going around in circles. What I said, what Pastor Kelvin said was the fact that we're not listening to each other. We're just so busy trying to see who is going to do what the best. That's not what this is about. This is about the kings coming to Panama. This is about them telling us about their history. Because honestly, most people don't know that kings and queens of Africa exist in Latin America, in America, and in the Caribbean. We don't know. We're just now finding out there are kings here, there are kings there. Remember, we were educated by the Spaniards. So they never taught us about our history. I know everything about their history, but they never taught me about mine. So I was always going through changes because I wanted to know, why is it they're trying to convince me to have my hair like their hair? Why are they trying to convince me that I am not good enough? You know, and it's trying to convince me that who I am doesn't really exist. So I had to take the time out to figure out why Europeans are always telling us my hair is bad. You know, my color is bad. Everything about me is bad. So I had to take the time out to say, why? Why do they want me to feel this way? Why do they want me to think this way? That is because when you have an agenda to be superior to others and to have the privilege and not worry about anyone questioning you, you will be taught by these things from birth. So therefore, what I had to do is purge all the things that were taught to me in school, at home. You know, no one really taught me who God really is. Everything was based on what someone else told them. So I had to find all those things out. That's part of healing, searching, renewing my mind in order for me to be the woman that I am.
Right.
I could not continue to be the woman that man created me to be. I have to be the woman that God created me to be. So that's part of the healing. That's part of changing the mindset. Healing is changing and purging the mindset of everything that I was taught. Just like you were saying, Sena, it reminds us. Black history reminds us. I don't need a reminder. I need to live it. You understand? I need to live who I am. You see, I don't need anyone to say, you know what, Mel, you're Black today. You know what, Mel, your hair is okay. No, I know it is because I've purged. I'm purging. And that's part of healing, the listening, the purging, educating ourselves and not waiting for someone to educate you about who they are versus of who you are. So the healing is key of the journey of reconciliation. Then come restoration. You understand? We have to restore spiritually, mentally, every way we have to heal, you see. So I got fed up one day and I said, you know what? I'm going to be the woman God created me to be. But how this vision came, it was a woman came in my dream 3 years ago, old woman with white hair. And she looked at me and she said, what are you doing, Dr. Barrow? And I said, well, I'm connecting Africa. And she said, you're not doing anything. Take a look to your right. And when I looked to the right, she took me back to slavery. And I saw some things that I don't even want to talk about. And that brought me back to my senses. It's not just connecting Africa with the world, with their people, but we need to heal. We need to reconcile. We need to restore Africa. And as Julius said, Africa is within you. In other words, you need to restore you. You need to change your mindset because we can celebrate Black history, but what are we celebrating? Slavery? I don't want to celebrate slavery. I don't want to talk about the constant what they have done to me. We need to change the mindset and talk about what we're going to do now and how we're going to fix what our ancestors have passed through. They went through hell. You understand? That's what she showed me. She says, look at us. We'll never be free until you are free. You see? So now, when we talk about Black history, we need to talk about what we are going to do. Africa, my people in Africa, stop telling yourself that you're poor. Please stop telling yourself that you're poor. Because you're not poor. You never were poor. You just have allowed people to come into your territory and take and take and take. And then you turn back around and say, I'm hungry, feed me. When you're sitting on all the minerals that God has blessed you with. That's part of healing.
Right.
Get to know what you have.
Okay.
Do the right thing with
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Mélida. When Africans turn around and say, actually, I don't think that majority of Africans on the continent are, are necessarily crying out to say, we are hungry, come and save us. They're not calling on the world to come and save them. And I think they try to look up to our leaders. I think it's our leaders that make Africa look bad. It's most of our leaders that make Africa look bad, because they're not making use of the resources to provide opportunities for their citizens. They are siphoning the resources for themselves. So it's greed. And of course, mental slavery too plays a part, because a lot of our leaders are still sold, are still wallowing in, that mentality. And so there's lack of national patriotism, national patriotism. Yes. And lack of identity for a lot of our leaders. And so because of that, they project, because they are always running to the Europeans to beg for loans, to beg for loans. They're always.
But that's what I just got through saying. That's what's happening.
Right.
Yes.
So the leaders are our issue as Africans. And so for the people, the way we are scattered all across the globe, how do we, go through this healing process? It's easy if we're all gathered in one place, but we are all over, right? So how do we embark on this healing journey? And this is something and the answer is one of the answers is what you are doing currently, which is trying to get the kings and queens to come to Panama to reconcile. And I think we need a lot of these things, right? What
right.
You say,
and also the important thing here is that Africans don't know my history. They don't know our history. They don't know about the transatlantic slave trade. They don't know much about that history. Healing is part of knowing who you are.
Okay.
Healing is part of knowing your history. If you don't know your history, and you're saying that a lot of it to blame is the politicians, but this is what I have to say. How is it that Africa, and maybe Kelvin can help me with this. How is it that Africa are always saying that they're poor? That's number one. How is it that Africa most African countries have been independent for, a little over 60 years, right? But yet they still have the same system that Europeans left. You're still not being educated of your history.
Yeah.
And that goes as far as us in our region as well. We're not being educated
in Central America, you mean?
In Latin America, in the Americas and the Caribbean. Okay. We're not being taught our history. So that's part of a problem. So you cannot say that all of this is part of a government. This is a system that was designed in order for us not to learn about ourselves. This is why during slavery they didn't want us to read, because once you start reading, once you start knowing who you are, you become the most powerful woman and man on this earth, because they don't want you to remember the things that our ancestors have done. They don't want you to remember that. They want you to remain where you are. So what I'm saying, just let me say this. What I'm saying is that this is not just about politicians. This is about a system that oppressed us over centuries, years. So we have to make that change. And the journey of reconciliation of Mother Africa and her diaspora, what we're doing in Panama, getting ready to do in May, that is, let's come together, let's talk, and let's take the journey around the world to educate our brothers and sisters. And this is not just about Africans. This is about the indigenous people of the lands.
Okay.
Right.
Wow. Wow. Pastor Kelvin, you can come in.
Yeah, let me add to what Dr. Malaji just said. I mean, Alinco, you of course are aware of the book, The Miseducation of the Negro, right?
Yeah.
What Dr. Mélida has just described is the long-standing impact of the miseducation of the African, right? And you and I know, until the lion tells its own story, the story will always, show the hunter as the hero, right?
Yes.
And so that's really what we're talking about here, right? Is how do we take time to see how we can get to know ourselves, about ourselves, and our sisters and brothers. So it's critical for us to engage in deconstruction, and through that deconstruction, reconstruction, right? And that brings you to the next L after listening, right?
Okay.
That is learning. You see, learning. I always encourage all immigrants, but especially Black immigrants,
to get to know and understand the truth about American history. Because if you don't do that, when you come to this country, inevitably, you will engage in activities that set back the civil and human rights movement that enables you and I, Dr. Mélida, to do what we're doing right now.
That's right.
You see? Because of the sweat and the blood of so many folk who look like us, right? Mm-hmm. Whether it's in Chicago, in Los Angeles, or in Florida, right? The three, states so cities and states that we are in, we tend to forget that, because we have to understand the American machinery is a machinery of manipulation and co-option, and through that, sow division, and because of that division, delay reconciliation. So we've set aside.
But one will also argue that isn't the same system that helped abolish slavery and also give us the proclamation of emancipation, and also created a system where we all can air our views like what we're doing today.
Yes, it's the same system after struggle. It's the same system after we fought for it. Okay, slavery was not just ended because white folk came to their senses. Let's be clear about that. We don't have a constitution just because, white folk, one day said, oh, we think it's a good idea to declare the Emancipation Proclamation. If you read the story about how that took place, it was a part of a political deal that was made. So let's be clear about that. We got to learn the full history of how things came about, in this country. We are where we are, not because of the charity of white folk. We are where we are because of the spiritual resistance that started with the First Nations of this land and continued even before 1619 by our ancestors who arrived here. So we are where we are because of resistance. And let me say this. We've come a long way, but we still have a long way to go. If you just look at what's happening around the country right now in terms of voter suppression, what's happening around the country right now in terms of January 6th, what's happening around the country right now in terms of putting this democracy in peril. You see, we still have a long way to go. Why do we have to vote every 5, 6, 7, 10 years on a voting rights bill? Why can't that be permanent as part of the? So the Constitution is great, but imperfect and incomplete. That's why we must continue to resist. So we resist out of gratitude, of course, right? But we don't resist out of guilt, with folks saying, oh, aren't you all happy that we are where we are? No, we're grateful that we are where we are. That gratitude continues to invite us to engage in moving towards a more perfect union, or as Dr. King puts it, in moving towards beloved community.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? So I engage in spiritual resistance, not because I'm not grateful for the Constitution, but because I believe in the Constitution and what it can be. You see, so I don't worship the Constitution. I use it as a path to move us towards beloved community, because it's not just about being a citizen. The Japanese were citizens, and look what happened to them. African Americans were citizens, look what happened to them. So citizenship is not enough. Beloved community is where we want to get to in our work together. So this is where the learning, I think, Alinco comes in, and the work that we're doing as part of the Black Alliance for Just Immigration, help our folk understand that it's more than just becoming a citizen. It's becoming a prophetic and a progressive citizen, you see, that continues to push the envelope, to make sure that this country becomes equitable and inclusive for all who lives in it. And I think that's the learning piece that we have to do as we move forward. And I'll throw out the last L, and then I'll let Dr. Mélida, chop it up. And that last L is leverage. Listen, learn, leverage. And all this leverage Alinco is for reconciliation. You see, because we cannot allow the pain of the past, right, to be repeated in our future. In of our past must be a path to new possibilities. Our future cannot look like our history. You see what I'm saying? So I would always say, when I work with young people, I would say to them, let me tell you about my history. But after I tell you about my history, I want us to talk about our future. You see? So my point of departure is not my destination. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So this journey of reconciliation, and it is a journey because it invites us to continue to unearth and excavate, as I said earlier on, you know, just the poison about each other, the deception about each other, you know, that is put inside of us, how to just kind of, you know, deal with that and work through that together so that we can get to the truth, because truth is the pathway to freedom, right? Scripture says
that's right.
And the truth will set you free. So we want to get to the truth. You see what I'm saying? Is it going to be difficult for some folk? Of course. Is it going to be challenging for some folk? Of course. That's why reconciliation is done through grace. Reconciliation is done with compassion. Reconciliation is done with a disposition of restoration. In fact, reconciliation is done in a reparative way. You see, so that I can become my whole self. You can become your whole self. You see, but until some folk are broken and some folk are whole, right? Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Let me flip the script on that. Brokenness anywhere is a threat to wholeness everywhere.
Wow.
And reconciliation is the path to wholeness, because we've all been broken. We've all been, we're all in pain. Black folk and white folk.
We're still broken, Kelvin. We're still broken.
Right. And so part of it is, how do we move to wholeness? It is, and we said it earlier on, it is a spiritual journey that impacts our cultural, our social, our political, and our economic behavior. You see, as we move forward, and that's the journey that will bring us to Panama. We'll kick it off in Panama. That'll be a catalytic experience that will take us to other regions as we continue to see how do we grow in our reconciliation and become what God has intended for all of us to be. God is not a God that endorses superiority of some folk over others or supremacy of some folk. God is a God that endorses equality and equity, and that invites us all to see how we can make sure that regardless of your language, regardless of your ethnicity, regardless of where you're from, you see what I'm saying?
Right.
Amplify and affirm the divine within so that we can move towards the reconciliation that we all deserve.
Wow. Okay. So we have about 10 minutes, no, maybe 8 minutes to complete the discussion this evening. I've been trying to work on the video, but this technical glitch is a pain this evening. It's kind of trying to make our day a little difficult, but we would I think a lot of the conversation, most of what we wanted to get out has been said. We'll only be missing this video of this queen who's going to be sharing her story and why she's part of the journey of reconciliation, and it's unfortunate that we can't play that. But before I go to Dr. Mélida, Dr. Kelvin, one thing that you said, right, which is profound among a lot of the profound things that you said, is the fact that when we become citizens, when African immigrants become citizens, it doesn't end there. Like, that is so powerful, because you know the norm is, naturalization. Once we get it, okay, and we have that, it gives us pride, and
they don't know the power of it. That's the thing.
That's the thing.
They don't know the power of being a citizen. I know the power of being a citizen. I travel the world teaching what we're getting ready to do in May. You have power. Use it. There's a lot of things that we have that it's almost like getting a citizen.
What is that power? What is that power?
The power is exactly what I'm doing. I was born in Panama. I became a citizen, oh my God, years and years ago. So I am traveling around the world, giving the message, teaching people. You understand? letting the world know that what we were taught was a lie. Everything was a lie. Even the world map is a lie.
So are you saying African? So are you saying every African citizen who becomes African immigrant who becomes a citizen should be traveling around and
that's not what I'm saying.
All right,
that's not what we're saying.
Actually, Dr. Mélida, let me say this quickly. No.
Okay.
Right now, you don't have to travel by getting on a plane, Alinco. Right?
Right.
You can travel just by reading.
Yeah.
You can travel just by watching the Progressive Mind show.
There you go.
You can travel by just checking out some certain programs that are available. So yes, you have to travel, but the travel doesn't have to be physical. Whatever Dr. Mélida and I teach as we do our traveling, that's all available. For folks. She has a book out that talk about that. I have a podcast, Fate Without Borders, where we deal with that. So yes, you have to travel, but it doesn't have to be necessarily physical traveling, because now with technology, you can travel, in a variety of places, 24/7. The whole idea is be intentional about broadening your horizons, because the more you know about others, the more you get in close proximity to their concerns. And once you broaden, that care and that compassion, you are able then to see folk, to listen to folk. And once you're able to do that, you then realize, am I, by living the way I'm living, contributing, to their plight, or am I contributing to their liberation?
Awesome.
I apologize. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
that's okay.
I'll bring you in.
That's the
Mr. Mel, I'll bring you in. I've been wanting to acknowledge people who have been watching us all this while, but I've missed everybody. So let me just acknowledge them, and Dr. Mel, I'll bring you in, okay? Rebecca Marty has been here. John Oben, John, my brother. We gotta talk. My brother, we gotta talk. Long time no see you. Thank you for joining the show. Pakwesi Sam, the president of the Ghana National Council. Pakwesi, thank you for being here. Max Selassie, thank you for being part of the show. We have Selassie Elliot Amekuji also here. G Pope 1, thank you for joining this one. Ate Akron, Pastor Ate Akron, thank you for being part of it. Agbona Joy has also been here with us. We have some comments on here. We try to see if we can read them. There are some Pan-African organizations on the ground in Panama working on a few AU initiatives. How can they get involved and be part of this event? This is a very, very great question.
Yes.
Dr. Mel, before you respond to that, please share the feed. Maite, you are a very wonderful lady, and thank God that Dr. Mélida found you.
Yes, that's my baby. That's my assistant. She's awesome. She can put the Maite, you can put the website on there.
Yeah,
and you
she
can
did.
put. Yeah. Oh, she did.
She did. Yeah, I'm gonna show it now. I'm gonna show it now.
They can get in touch with us.
But what I want to encourage everyone is to do is share the feed now on Facebook and on YouTube, and let's promote the Sixth Region Global Chamber of Commerce Journey of Return production of Journey of Reconciliation. And we will have it go deep into that. This question is on standby. Let's try and see if we can get one or two comments, because our time is past and I don't want us to miss these comments. Blessing Sena Alinco and Dr. Mélida Harris Barrow in this journey of reconciliation of Mother Africa and her diaspora. This is from Mayate. Once again, thanks for a great job that you've been doing. Dr. Garvey, okay, that was for Dr. Garvey. This one is for many of member states have not ratified the Sixth Region Constitution yet. Deloitte Arts, One Love. She also has been here. Iman Agbemasho says powerful, nice. And we have Nanase Brimpong Williams. Praise the Lord, Rebecca. And we have Jeanette says blessings. And these are some of the comments that I wanted to get out. They have been here, and we apologize we couldn't get them earlier. Please bear with us. But more importantly, as you've heard, let's use our citizenship. Let's use our power. Whether you are a citizen or not, let's share the message. Let's be let's all teach one another and learn from one another. Dr. Mélida, please go ahead.
Yes, yes, it's important to teach one another. I know many Africans, when I travel to the African countries, they would tell me, why do you have such interest in us? Because you're from Latin America and we're from Africa. I said, well, I have to correct you. I'm an African woman. Only because I was born in another country does not mean I have to define myself as where I was born. That's so important, because oftentimes, and no, let me go back and say that all my brothers in the world I love. There is a thing where because we were born somewhere else, we don't consider ourselves brothers and sisters. And you're wrong about that. We need to, again, change that mindset and remember the history that we were taking from Africa. Okay, so now we have to talk about that we're not different. This is what we are talking about. This is what we're going to talk about at the journey of reconciliation. We're all brothers and sisters. And that's why we need to be educated about colonialism, what happened. And you need to learn about what happened to those that was taking. You know, I was at the, in Ghana at the, is it called Cape Castle? What is it, Kelvin? In Ghana, the Cape Castle, right?
The Elimina Castle?
The other one.
The one at Cape Coast or Elimina?
Yeah, the Cape Coast.
Cape Coast. Okay. Yeah.
And I was there, visited the Cape Coast in October, and there were people crying, crying and crying because they're hearing the history of what happened there before Africans was taking. And I'm saying to myself, wait a minute. Do you know what happened to them when they arrived? Right. That's the question. Do you know what happened to your brothers and sisters, my African brothers and sisters, when they arrived to the Americas and the Caribbean? That is what you need to, not when they left, but when they arrived.
Yeah.
So what the journey of reconciliation is going to do is that when the African and kings come, we are going to educate them of what really happened to your brothers and sisters. This is why it's a journey. We will travel around the world, but we will go back to Africa, those of us that can, and tell you about the history. So this is why it's important that we cannot wait till February to celebrate who we are. We have to celebrate who we are every single day, because our ancestors are watching us being dominated by telling us, wait for that month in order for me to remember what they have gone through, what they are still going through. Because if we don't free ourselves, they're going to still be in bondage. This is spiritual, my brothers and sisters. So don't only talk about when they left. Don't only weep about when they left. You have to think about what really happened to them when they arrived, all throughout the Americas, the Caribbean. That's the key. This is why this is important. We have to be in one location in order for all of us now to come together. And let's talk about the history, and not just about slavery. Let's talk about who we were, who we really are before we were taken to be brought over here in this region. That's the key. And that's what we are getting ready to do with the kings and queens. When they come to Panama, from Panama, we're coming to the United States. From the United States, we're coming to the Caribbean, and we have not selected the United States. It's all about to see what state will receive us to come, so we can come together at that point once again and discuss and talk and heal. Yes, and do business with each other, because we have 2 days of business where African brothers and sisters can come and present the business opportunities. Panama is going to present their business opportunities. We are going to have a program about culture exchange. Let me see if my brothers and sisters in the Americas were able to hold on to that culture. And we have, after 400 years, We're still eating like Africans. We're still eating the fufu. We're eating the rice and beans. We're eating the goat. We're eating all that. That is traditional. We have kept so many things within us, but they have tried to take away what we have. You see? So this is why, Sena, we can no longer say that a whole race of people have to remind us of who we are in February, the shortest month of the year. No. What we need to do is travel around the world with the journey of reconciliation, teaching our brothers and sisters who they are and who God created them to be.
Wow. Okay. Time is
I get so emotional.
No.
I feel it, Kelvin. I feel it. I feel it.
It is emotional.
It's called passion. Or help me Maite, passion.
Yes. Oh my God. Dr. Mel, please help respond. Please help respond to this comment or question real quick so we can try and mention. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, my Grace. Yes, you can communicate with us. I'll give you a number. It's 954-253-4656. 954-253-4656. You can call that number. It's a U.S. number and communicate with us because we need you. We need you. We need you to join what we're doing. And that's the idea. We need those of you out there that are doing the same thing. Let's unite. That's what I just got through telling Pastor Kelvin. Let's just unite because this is a movement. I call it a journey.
Awesome. Dr. Mel, that's a powerful comment coming through. She says, amen. I felt your passion as well. Thank you so much for chiming in. Dr. Mel, tell us some of the kings. I know the son of Haile Selassie is going to be there. Unfortunately, I'm even trying to get the flyer. My system is all messed up today, and it's very unfortunate. But tell us all the personalities that are on the bill to speak. Maite sent me I was going through the list of the speakers. Oh my God, this is, I kid you not, Dr. Mel, this is the most, it is, and it's going to be the most powerful event, but organized by the African diaspora in the diaspora ever.
Yes. This is the first time in history that this is taking place because oftentimes we go there or one person would come here. This is going to be global.
So tell us the names.
Let me tell you the names of the kings that are coming. We're going to have Oni of Ife, Adeyeye Inetang Agunwusi. He's going to be there. Our Queen Diambi, I'm having a little hard time pronouncing their names, but Queen Diambi Gavatuswila, she's going to be there. She's from the Congo, but she is a king. She took over the throne, so she's a king. And then we have we have also His Royal Highness Dr. Rilwang Sulaiman Adamu. He is also from Nigeria. Diambi's from the Congo, and Adeyeye, he's from Nigeria as well. And then we have more kings and queens. We have about 5 more that's not on my on here. We have a Dr. Noah Dalaji. He's the one that's going to be the speaker for the young people. His organization is called African Children's Talent Discovery Foundation from Nigeria. We have Prince Hermes Sali Selassie, the grandson of Selassie, the emperor. Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, you can go ahead. Yeah.
And then we have the president of the Chamber of Commerce of the Republic of Congo in Washington, D.C., Jean-Claude Atusameo. We're having also from South Africa, Mr. Cumbert Nkube. He is the current chairman of the African Tourism Board in South Africa. We're going to have the president of Smithsonian. We are having quite a few people here in Panama. I'm presently here in Panama doing all the running and the work and so forth. We have a lot of quite a few sponsors that's sponsoring us. The United Nations, women, and many others that's sponsoring. I don't have it all in my head.
Awesome.
But I'm going to tell you something, Sena. This is going to be powerful.
It is.
It's going to be powerful.
It is. And I must give you a lot of credit for all the hard work. I know you have really toiled for this. I know you have people like Pastor Kevin, who has been super supportive. And so Pastor Kevin and everybody else that has helped, that I don't know your name. I know Mayate. Oh, definitely Mayate. Awesome. I can't get my eyes off Mayate. Okay, Mayate.
Yes.
I can't get my eyes off this flyer, Dr. Mel. Like it's apart from it's being beautiful and powerful, it's just the people. Look at the people. Look at the personalities that are coming. You know, it's incredible.
I have to give credit. I definitely have to give credit to Diego Rodriguez. He's from Colombia. I have many people from different parts of the world that's working with us, not just Panama. We have Colombia, we have Venezuela, we have San Andres, we have different people around the world that's organizing this with us. So amazing.
No, thank you. We'll try and see if we can play a few seconds of Queen of Congo. Let's
So I was crowned in 2016, to be more precise, August 31st, 2016. And I was crowned after the fact that my father, who is still alive, refused a few years back to sit on the throne of his people, to wear the crown of his people. So it's a very interesting responsibility to be a king. In our culture of the Bakwaluntu people, the king is not, the king that governs, but it's a king that is a symbol, is a king that sits as the representative of the culture, the values, and the ancestral heritage, and also stand as a vortex of energy that represents the ancestors of the entire tribe. So people really govern in a different way, because we govern through councils, and we have, chiefs who are, the chiefs of the lands and different clans, and then we have councils, and those are the councils that govern. But my father was not really interested in doing this, accepting this position, because my father is a very modern African. My father was born during the colonization, where he was really encouraged to give up the African culture and to adopt the Western and European culture, and thinking that that was going to be the best choice, and it was better for the future. So many African on the continent of Africa, just the same as everywhere else in the diaspora, were encouraged and sometimes forced to abandon their traditions, their culture, even their language sometimes, their names, and all the history of their ancestors, and to forget about that, because we were colonized. So we were forced to really change everything about the way we lived. So many people, even after the colonization, to be in this modern day Africa, that was a complete construct from the European big powers. After the Conference of Berlin in 1885, after this conference, they created all these countries that we see now. So they destroyed basically all the kingdoms, or so they thought. They destroyed the kingdoms. They didn't respect those borders or the kingdom territories, but the people remained, and some of the people remained and kept the tradition going, and so people still had the choice. Sometimes they could, if they wanted to live in the city, they would become more westernized, like my father, and then go to school, and then go to Europe or America, get some degrees, and then come back to the country to work, in the administrations or in politics or in science, in many different domains. But most of the traditional life now was left in the rural area where people remained close to their beliefs, traditions, and culture. However, even in the city, people still kept, a lot of the things intact, but it was really a mixed. So when my father, who was already very westernized and was an ambassador, and then he became a professor in a university for economics, and he was a lawyer. So he was really not interested in carrying the legacy of his ancestors in the way that he would have to wear, the traditional culture on his shoulders and become an ambassador for that culture. So when he refused, they asked then that who would be the next person in line that could do that. And of course, there was a process to vet who could be the next person. And eventually the Council of Elders picked me. So the crown picked my head to sit on it. And then I became a queen in 2016. In 2017, a year later, I was then seated on the throne, and this is where the transition from queen, then I become a king. But of course, we are using foreign languages like Western language. It's hard to explain the concept, but it's really that, where the throne itself represents the women's power, because women represent power in our tradition and men represent authority. So oftentimes it will be a man seated on the throne, because then we have the perfect balance. But sometimes in history, it happens that a woman like myself can sit on the throne. And but in order for me to do that, I have to go through a lot of transformation, a lot of work and prayers and rituals that are really from thousands of years ago, so that I can really become posture more of a masculine stance when, of course, I'm going to sit on the throne, not all the time. But so this is why I am a female king, and not a mukalenga mukaji. It means female king, not just mukaji wa mukalenga would be the queen who married a king. So that's how I became a king.
Thank you for sharing, Dr. Mel. I took time to play the whole thing because
thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And because there's another one that she mentioned her name, and it's a long name, and she mentions the
kingdom,
the tribe that she's from in Congo, and time wouldn't permit us to go into all of that. Guys, this is a lot of work, and so when we ask you for donation, we need it. And so please go ahead to the progressivemindshow.com, the pmsshow.com, and contribute to this show, because we want to serve our community. And we need your support to do that. This is part of the healing, the citizenship, the responsibility, all of that, right? And so you helping us build a community is very important. So we encourage you to do so. We will do this again. Pastor Kevin, we will do this again. Dr. Mel, we will definitely do this again before the main event, and hopefully we can get some of the kings and queens. And so, what is her full name, Dr. Mel? What's her full name again?
Oh boy,
no, her queen name. No,
you're asking me to do something that's very difficult.
No, the simple one.
Share her name up. I will write her name.
No, the one on the flyer. The one on the flyer. I just want to look at the one on the flyer here. I think
look at the one on the flyer.
Yes. Her name is. Oh my God. I'll get it. Okay, so on that note, we will want to.
We're gonna write it on the feed.
I get it. I just have to pull the information up.
This is part of our learning.
Yeah.
How to pronounce these unique names of our kin. And yes, it's going to be some tongue twisters, but it's part of the learning.
Absolutely. Her Excellency Queen Diaby Gaba Tuilia. Gaba Tusilia. Her Excellency Queen Diaby Kaba Tusilia.
Very powerful woman.
Tusilia. Yes. Swila. Thank you so much, Dr. Mélida, Reverend Kelvin Sauls. Please give us your closing remarks so we can bring today's show to conclusion and do it again next time. We'll start with Reverend Kelvin Sauls, please.
My brother, thank you for having me. Dr. Mélida, I did reach out to Alinco to say that while we're in Panama to try and see if we can do some shows while we are there. He's got a show, I got a show. So we might be live from Panama, you know what I'm saying?
I love
but listen, my brother, let me encourage you in the work that you are doing. This is a powerful platform that is all about information and reconciliation, and you're doing an excellent job. So know that you have my love and my support, and so we just keep on keeping on, man. I just want to say I'm very excited to be part of the sixth, region Global Chamber of Commerce, and part of it is to see how we can continue to unite, bring unity within our diversity without getting trapped in uniformity, and to celebrate the depth and breadth of that diversity. And it's going on a daily basis. And we're looking forward to how all this will culminate, in Panama and beyond as we continue to do this work together. So again, my appreciation to you, Dr. Mélida, thanks for the invitation. And I commend you for your leadership, and looking forward to our ongoing walk and work together.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Dr. Mel, in your closing remarks, what should people expect at this historic event?
This journey, what to expect, it starts from the 19th through the 25th. The first day, we're going to have forums. We're going to talk about before slavery, before colonialism, because people need to have that information. We're going to talk about the transatlantic slave trade, also regarding the commerce of it. We're going to have the next day, we're going to have the second day, we're going to have Panama presenting business opportunities in the country. And then the following day, we're going to have international countries presenting their business opportunities. Also, we're going to have a meeting, a parliament meeting with the kings and queens and the African diaspora about their concerns and how we can merge and work together. We are also on the 22nd, we are going to have and matter of fact, we're going to have on the 20th, we're going to have a meet and greet with all of us, our brothers and sisters. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
And then we're going to have the cultural exchange in the Theater Balboa, which we're going to show the different countries and their culture and etc. And then we're going to have the ceremony with the kings and queens and the African diaspora together. We're going to have that at Fort Lorenzo. It's almost like the fort in Ghana. And then we're going to have tours going through the Panama Canal and, many things we're going to have and so forth. Finally, the big gala. We're going to have that. And you can visit the 6th Region Global Chamber of Commerce.org. You will find all the information there. One of the things I want to say, too, is that those of you that register, you will get 1 year free of the 6th Region Global Chamber of Commerce. So that's going to be awesome. So basically, we can't wait for our kings and queens to come to Panama, and we can't wait for all of you to join us because this is going to be historical. And those of you who know BET or any one of those media services, let them know what we're doing in Panama.
Now, how is the response? I know these are your last words, but we're
getting a lot of response. You know what people are saying? People are saying that it's about time. We have also churches that want to come. We have diplomats, and we
from Africa, United States, Canada, Latin America, all over,
all those places. Yeah, I have a 84-year-old called me, and she said, "Thank you, Dr. Barrow. My husband is not alive, but I am here. Both of us have been waiting for something like this."
Awesome.
So that touched my heart. So again, this is going to be a spiritual event, a journey, and I call it a journey because we'll never stop. We're teaching our young people how to continue this journey once my eyes is closed, and once many of us eyes are closed, they are and they're in it now. They're part of it now. So that way they can take it. I wouldn't want to start something without my young people. They have to carry the baton.
Awesome. Wow. Okay, so I'm just going to get this comments out. Thank you, Mayate. Thanks for the family, for us. Blessings, Reverend Pastor Kelvin Sauls. Blessings, Sena Alinco, and thanks to my dear teacher, Queen Mel. Thank you once again, Mayate, for being an awesome person. I just donated for a better laptop. Yay! Can we give it up for this beautiful lady? Thank you. Wow, thank you so much, Grace. And she says she just donated for a better laptop. Look, she put a smile there. Now, I hope this is not a smile like, like you're making, I hope this is serious. No, Grace, thank you. I'm going to check if you want to get in touch and support us more. It's one thing I didn't mention is the need for grant writers. Like I said, we are 501c, so not-for-profit. So be encouraged to support us. If you're a grant writer or if you know one, please send them our way. My email address is info.progressiveminds@gmail.com. info.progressiveminds@gmail.com. If you want to reach us, 815-409-9123. Or if you go to our website or social media, you can always get in touch with us. This is a website from Mayate, Sixth Region Global Chamber of Commerce.org. You see it right there. You can't miss it. Sixth Region Global Chamber of Commerce is the only one in the whole world. You can't miss it. And then, good job, Sena. This is Dr. Ida Abraham. Dr. Ida, you made it to the show. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And last comment says, I did. I'm just smiling at it being for your laptop. Oh, thank you so much, Grace Ann. You're an angel. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm going to check it out. Hopefully we can get it all sorted out before the next episode. So next week, Wednesday, we'll be here. We want to treat next month, we want to talk about family. The following month, we want to talk about relationship. We need to bring family values back into our communities, So we need to parenting and all of that. We have to. We have the resources, Dr. Mel, Pastor Kelvin, to teach some of these things. So we're bringing them back on the show and other very important people.
And we're looking for volunteers. Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Volunteers in what areas?
In all areas.
Okay, in all areas.
Whatever their experience, write us at the website.
Sixth Region Chamber Global of Commerce. See, Dr. Mel and I are sisters. We're same in kind in the spirit. Everything she's doing, I'm part of it. And everything I'm doing, she's part of it. Okay. Yes. We work together. And so if you hear Sixth Region Chamber of Commerce, that is Alinco, that is Progressive Minds. And if you hear Progressive Minds, you that is Dr. Mel.
Region.
Okay. So it's we're twins. Everywhere she's going, I'm there. Everywhere I'm going, she's there. Okay.
Yeah. That is true.
Yeah. And she, she's much older than me, but she looks like my sister. She looks young, so you can easily pass her for my sister. So she's my sister. Dr. Mel, Santua, thank you so much for your time, your dedication, and to the African diaspora, to the globe. I mean, you are a global citizen and you are a leader in this global village that we're in. So really want to appreciate you. To our audience and everyone who contributed to the show, I say God richly bless you. A special blessing and thanks go to Grace Ann, Abena, Osborne, James. Thank you so much. And we really, please let me know how I can get in touch with you. A thank you letter or something. email us at info.progressiveminds@gmail.com. Or if you go on our website, you can reach out to us. Okay, I really have to extend a special thanks to you. So do not forget to reach out. This is Biney doing extraordinary. Watching you is just inspiring. Keep it up, Alinco. My senior brother Bennett Biney, where have you been? Long time no see you, bro. You know, hey, you have to go to Panama. You have to go to Panama and check out and see what Dr. Mel is doing. Okay, I know you heard her speak before, and I thank you for chiming in and supporting this. Then if you can volunteer too, she needs a volunteer. Okay, if you know anybody who can volunteer for her, please help out.
Volunteers.
Yes, she needs a lot of
volunteers.
Yes. The job, the work is huge.
But
so,
you know what? The main thing that we need, anytime we put something out there, pass it on. You know, media. That's what we need. We want the world to know what we're doing.
Yeah,
yes.
Share.
Yeah.
Okay, it has been a pleasure. I will reach out to Cabo, a Sixth Region organization in Panama, to offer volunteers. Man, this lady is awesome. Dr. Mel, do you know her? Do you know?
No, I don't know.
I've never seen her too. It's the first time I
Grace and Abina.
Yeah.
Do I know?
She's Ghanaian. The Abina sounds Ghanaian, you know, Osborne James. You know, the Abina is Ghana though. Abina is a Tuesday born in the Akan
Yeah,
land.
we can get together this weekend. I'm in Panama. So are you in Panama? I think she's in Panama, she said, right?
I don't know, but if she is, reach out to her for sure.
She already, I mentioned my number, 954-253-4656. She says it's an organization in Panama, so they can reach out to me.
Man, Doctor, no, she says she's not in Panama. She's not in Panama.
Okay.
But
right.
Yeah, reach out to
the
her.
Organization in Panama. Yes, I will.
Okay.
Thank you, Grace.
Oh my goodness. Look, it's been 2.5 hours, but
I know. Thank you. And people are still on.
I know. Oh my God. It's exciting. Very exciting. And I'm encouraged. She says she will. She definitely will. And here is our email info. When you get in touch with me, you have gotten in touch with Dr. Mel. So I'll pass on whatever info you have or at gmail.com. I just put our email there, info.progressiveminds@gmail.com. So if you want to reach out, I wouldn't say please reach out. Grace Ann, send me an email and let's send you a special appreciation for your kindness. And I know a lot of you have supported and are still supporting. We encourage you to keep doing this because we all, as you do it, we are all building our community and we are all helping each other to grow. So thank you once again, Dr. Mel. Have a wonderful evening.
Sure. Bye-bye.
My regards to the kings and the queens. Tell them I said hi.
I will.
All right.
I will. Thank you so much. Have a blessed night.
You as well. Bye-bye. Well, we will be here next week, Wednesday, for another fruitful conversation. I want to encourage everyone to go this tomorrow is the Legacy Awards. It starts at Malcolm. It's at Malcolm X. It's starting tomorrow. The Legacy Awards, I'll say, is the biggest award ceremony for Black businesses and thriving businesses in the city of Chicago. Actually, in the whole county, Cook County, I don't know if there's any big business awards night as this one. So you definitely want to look it up. It's the Legacy Awards. Google it. Comes up. It starts tomorrow at Malcolm X. Saturday is the grand finale. But tomorrow definitely they have a program, and I think on Friday I'm not too sure, but definitely tomorrow they're starting. And I know for sure the gala is the top creme de la creme, tuxedo, black suits, all of that is this Saturday coming. You don't want to miss it. All right, and then book your calendars for May 19th through May 25 is the Journey of Reconciliation of Mother Africa and her diaspora. But stay tuned to this space. We're going to be letting you know what's coming up with regards to the exchange ceremony at the Rainbow Push June 4th. It's on. We're honoring Reverend Jesse Jackson powerful event coming up. We shall be sharing and informing you. Stay tuned to the Progressive Mind. Please share our feed, like our page on Instagram. Instagram is the Progressive Mind Show. Like our page. Go on YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube page, and share it. Okay, so that as you subscribe and turn on the notification each time we come, you will just be notified, so you can follow our stories. You can be part of the community building process on YouTube and Facebook. All right, we'll make sure you turn on the notification and then tell a friend about it. Share our message, and that's the only way we can grow than where we are. And again, we always want to encourage you to keep supporting us so we can be better at what we do. It has been a pleasure coming your way. My name is Alinco. Again, my co-host is very busy with the Legacy Awards starting tomorrow. And on Saturday, Michelle O'Kennard. I pray that God help you and your organization, WDB Marketing Company, for setting and initiating these awards. I am praying that the good Lord will make it a success, and hopefully we shall be able to co-host again starting next week. To my mother, my family, God richly bless you. To all my friends, I say I love you. See you next week. Remember, to whom much is given, much is required. Have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.